Hello there, welcome to my channel, Mace's Life, where I'm terrible at managing money but trying to get better. So with today's video, as you can see, it is not a mini Mondays, it's also not early in the morning, and after a long deliberation, consideration, whichever the word is, I have realized that I have no self-control. I am terrible at not necessarily budgeting, but sticking to a budget. So I am going to stop doing the mini Mondays and instead I'm going to go with you my weekly budget. We'll discuss some of the changes that I'm going to make going forward. And then after I am able to stick to a budget and at least have some self-control for 3 or so months, then maybe I will try to go back to trying to incorporate Mindy Mondays. So, that's a long-winded way to say hi. This is Maze's Life. I'm terrible at managing money, terrible at sticking to a budget, but if you are interested in seeing me budget and seeing me budget my income, it's currently about $82,000 a month before $82,000 a year. A year before taxes. But yes, if you're interested, please stick around, please like, please comment, please subscribe, but let's go ahead and get started. So, I am an HR analyst. I work for the government. I get paid only once a month. So my work income is right here. It doesn't change that much. So it hasn't changed from week 1 to week 2, so there is no updates with that. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down and we're going to get down to the things that do change, and those are my weekly expenses. So my first expense could have been for subscriptions, but I did not purchase any new subscriptions for the month. And for those of you all who are new here, because I got roughly 60 new subscribers in a day, hello, welcome, thank you for being here. But this category for subscriptions are for things like Hulu, Amazon, Netflix, ESPN, just different subscription services. I do not subscribe to any subscription services for an entire year. I will download a subscription service for a month and I will binge watch every single show that I want to in that subscription service. I've even taken 2 weeks off of work before because I had the vacation time saved up that I had to use or lose, and I have binge watched all 2 seasons of Euphoria plus other shows. And then after that month is gone or over with, that subscription is gone. It's not on the next month's budget. Euphoria season 3 will be coming out later this year, so you will see an HBO Max subscription for a month. I believe it comes out in May, but for January, I do not expect any subscriptions. Then moving down to personal and beauty fund. So as you can see, it says $15 here, and it's in bold. And you also see that there's some line items that are blank. That is because if you've watched my December budgeting videos, I am terrible at sticking to a budget. I have just this year, since March of last year, March 2025, I have been able to not go over budget in terms of not spending more in monthly expenses than I brought home in monthly income, but I have yet to ever stick to a budget, meaning I will set $15 in a category and only spend $50. No, I will typically go over on my fun budget and my food out budget and even my grocery budget every single month, and then I will take from other budgets. And yes, at the end of the month, it all works out, but I want to learn some self-discipline. So I tried to make a game that would, I thought, motivate me to only spend in those high spend categories for myself. But it did not work. So in the game that I played, I won $15 for personal and beauty spending. I had in my yearly spending, which I will go over to this tab right here, it says 2026 spending plan. So it's a lot of numbers, but this is my entire spending plan for the entire year of 2026. What I hope to spend and not go over or necessarily much under for the entire year of 2026 in every single category of every single month. So I had originally budgeted $25 for personal and beauty. I had so far won $15. I am going to make the executive decision to just keep it at $15. So I'm going to unbold it, and I'm not going to go over that for this month. And in week 2 of January 2026, I spent $5.63 on some skincare. It was really good high-end skincare. I hope it works. I have some skin texture that I want to get rid of. So that's what I bought. It was on sale. Alright, so I have a parking/work category, and that also includes anything that could possibly help me promote at work, such as I went to school and got a little certificate last year. I included that in this category. I do not have an education category. I do not ever plan on getting my master's degree. I already have a bachelor's, but I got a certificate and I put it under this category, and if I were to do anything else to that effect, it would also stay in this category. So my parking category, because I have to pay to park at work, I just keep in this row. Even if I pay to park downtown, I just still keep it in this row. But last week I spent $2.50 on the bus, or sorry, the trolley that they have here in Sacramento. I have to drive to it, and then I get on it, and it's $2.50. Alright, my renters and car insurance, I did not spend anything. And also, if you can see here for these different rows, once I spend my money, you can see here what the difference is for the rest of the month for those categories. Alright, so my renters and car insurance, this is not how much it usually is. My car insurance company, USAA, gave us a huge credit, over 50%, or at least me, in January of this month. Alright, then in my utilities category, I spent $190 in week 1. I did not spend anything in week 2, but I'm already budgeting to spend $27.14 in week 4. That is why you see it in week 4, even though we're not at week 4 yet. It's because I have a monthly reoccurring expense for my home security system that comes out that week 4. But week 2, nothing changed. Week 2 for my electricity bill, nothing changed. My phone bill, nothing changed. Alright, then for my fun category, I had not yet won anything in that category in my little mini Monday games, but I had already spent money because my best friend's birthday was on January 4th and I forgot when I was budgeting. So I decided to take the amount from my already decided 2026 spending plan, and for fun it was going to be $100. So I'm just going to go ahead and put $100 right here. And so I have $55 left to spend for the month, and it will get spent because this is a category that I have a problem with, and I already have plans for this month. But I did not spend anything in the fun category so far. My household category, I am going to take the amount from my already decided 2026 budget. I'm going to put $50. I highly doubt that I will spend $50 this month because my only thing that I plan to spend on my household is my laundry. I have to pay to do laundry because I just have to pay. My electronics and Wi-Fi bill is going to be $45.39, but week 2, I did not spend anything. For gas, I spent $38.06 for a full tank of gas because I went to 3 different malls over an hour away from where I live because I decided with my friend to take off Friday from work and just play hooky. I mean, I didn't. I took those days off. I used my vacation days, but we decided to go to the mall. And so this is where I would typically then see my budget and say, okay, I'm over $3. I don't like that it's red. And then I would just change this to the next highest number, which is $80. And I have certain amounts turn white just because this is close enough. So it's $80. I think I'm good for the rest of the month. Alright, for my gifts category, I had $120 in the pot. I do not plan on purchasing many gifts this year. However, I'm going to keep $20 in this pot because I got the advice from a commenter to start making gifts instead of buying expensive gifts, as well as during Christmas, I received a little like stickering with diamonds, a game, I guess. It's a little piece of artwork that you can make yourself, kind of like a paint by numbers, but it was a stickering diamonds by numbers. And I absolutely enjoyed it. It's super small, probably like a 4 inches by 4 inches. Took me about 6-7 hours to do. And I put on the Bible Hub app, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I've been thinking about doing that since then. And I used to be really into art when I was younger in high school, and my mom still keeps all my paperwork, all my artwork, all of that. And I went to the semifinals for state and all that. So I'm thinking about getting one of those and making them for my mom. So I'm going to keep the $20, and then I would probably give that to her for Mother's Day. Alright, so for the food out budget, this is where I have my problems. So originally I had budgeted for the month $75. As you can see, I already spent that in week 1. And then in week 2, I have the terrible habit of just telling my friends, oh, we'll just put it on my card and you can Venmo me later. And then here it is, 3 days later, and I have not been Venmoed back. So I'm going to put the amount that was spent on my card, because I have to account for it so far, and that was $103.03. $73 of this is not mine. But it is what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adjust my budget to $150. And that's because I plan to go out maybe just one more time this month. And if I get my money back, then I won't need to budget for the full 180, because if I budget for the full 180, then I'll spend it all, and I don't want to do that. So, yeah, we're going to say 150. You see here the $78.30. You're wondering, oh, Maze, what did you do last week? I bought a round of drinks for a bunch of my girlfriends at the bar when I did not need to, because we're girls at a bar. But anyways, for my church category, I had budgeted $0 for the month, but when I played hooky with my friends at 3 different malls, I saw a sign that said thrift store 2 miles away, and I made a sharp right turn, and she didn't even see the sign, and she was like, where are we going? And I said, I saw a thrift store sign that way. She goes, where that way? I said, I don't know, but hopefully we'll see it when we see it. and we saw it. And we walked into the thrift store, and it was an absolutely terrible thrift store, and I was not going to get a single thing. Until they said that this thrift store is in conjunction with the church right next door, and all their clothing items they get for free, and all the money they get from the thrift store gets donated right back to the church. So I'm going to put $25 in this category, and for week 2 I spent $24.84, and I bought 3 shirts. I bought a button-down plaid shirt. I used to love plaid in middle school. And then I also bought 2 jean shirt jackets. One that was in jean color, and then one that was in like a mossy green color. For those of you all who haven't watched my older videos, I am trying to lose 60 pounds. And so I wasn't going to buy any clothing because I'm trying to lose a bunch of weight. But I do not have any jean jackets or plaid jackets that fit my body at any size. And I also have very few clothes that fit my current size. And so I wear a lot of the same thing every single day. And once these clothing items become too big, I can still wear them as oversized jackets and pieces. So I wasn't going to buy them, but then when I heard that it goes to the church and that I could still wear them even while I'm losing weight and at my current weight, and the pieces that I don't have, I decided to purchase 3 shirts for $24.84, and it goes to the church. So that's why I put it in this category. Typically I would put those in the personal beauty category, but because I only did it because it goes to the church, that's why I keep it here. Then let's move down. So applied to debt. So this section was in red because, sorry, motorcycle drove by. It was in red because I had paid this money to debt, but I had not subtracted out yet what went to interest. So for week 3, I sent another $30 to debt, but all of the interest that I paid for the month got calculated onto my statements, and so it'll be $87.01 that went to debt. So as you can see, I still need to put an additional $139.92 towards my debt for sometime the rest of this month, but that is my applied to debt category. So let's move down to savings. I have not put down anything to savings just yet. My car maintenance, I definitely need to get an oil change. It's been 6 months and I'm at a little over 4,000 miles. I drive a Hyundai. It can go up to like 7,000 miles, but I want to get it done this month. My travel, $0. Nothing changed. For my cats, nothing has changed. For my grocery bill, this is a category that I don't exactly know how to necessarily put. So I'll explain the situation. I go to potlucks with my friends once a week at one of their houses. I will oftentimes go right after work, so I will just pick up some mac and cheese or something from Costco on my way to their house. This past week, I picked up a case of adult beverages. And so one case that will be for last week and then another case that will be for this week. I don't know if I should include this in my grocery bill or in my fun bill or in my food out bill, but I have historically always put it in my grocery bill because I get it at the grocery store, Costco or Sam's Club or something to that effect. So I spent for the adult beverages $62.23, but that is for this week and next week for those 2 potlucks that I go to with my friends. We go to weekly potlucks. And yeah, I will not be changing the amount so far. But typically when I see this and think, ooh, I only have $36 for the month, I would increase this by another $50. That's just historically what I've always done, and that I'm trying to not do. Alright, health. I do not have any health expenses this week, but I do plan on going to the doctor's later this month, so I'll have a copay then. Rent, already paid rent. My retirement comes out of my paycheck before I even get it. Cash, I didn't make any cash withdrawals. And then for interest payments, this is where I put in that $87.01 that you saw me subtract out here. I know this was a subtraction out of week 1 compared to this that's going in week 2. It's not perfectly correct, but it's correct overall, so I just leave it like this. Alright, and as you can see, this is red because it's over by, I think I put a $2 limit, so it's over by a cent. So I'll just put this as 87. There we go. And that's how I do that. And then financial, I did not have any financial related expenses for this month. And for those of you all who are new, my financial expenses can be things like paying for my taxes or buying different budgeting things that I may need. But because I'm actually taking a step back from different budgeting games, I do not plan on having any financial expenses for the next 3 months in terms of budgeting expenses. So, for the month, I still have an extra $156.41 to spend that's not yet budgeted. And then what is budgeted, I have $611.04 to spend. So, I'm going to go ahead and adjust just this number here. So I went over $15. I didn't know why I went over $15 last week, but I remembered I went and got a massage, and it was $15 for a tip because I had a credit to use. So that's $232, so I'm going to change it to $235. There we go. And so yeah, $140. If this was the last week or the last couple days of the month, I would take this $140.40 and I would just add it here onto my applied to debt section. Historically, I would take this $140 and I would split it between my grocery bill and my food out bill. But I'm trying to get better. So, alright, that is it. That is the breakdown of my week 2 January 2026 budget. Sorry for the long video. I just wanted to explain a little extra than I have in the past because of all the new subscribers. But thank you for following along. If you stayed to the end of the video, I'd love to have you join this journey, this financial debt-free journey with me. So hit subscribe, click the like, and leave a comment down below if you would like, especially if you have any advice for me whatsoever. But my next video will be in a couple days. And so other than that, thank you, and until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next video.